The mental model that builds wealth over time is rooted in a simple but powerful way of thinking that most people overlook. It is not about luck, shortcuts, or sudden breakthroughs. It is about understanding how small daily decisions, repeated consistently, compound into massive results over long periods. Wealth is not created in a moment. It is created in layers, quietly, patiently, and almost invisibly at first. The people who truly become wealthy do not rely on motivation alone. They rely on systems, habits, and long-term thinking that protect them from emotional decisions and guide them towards steady growth. This mental model begins with the idea that every action has a future version of itself. Money spent impulsively today has a future cost. Money invested wisely today has a future reward. Time wasted today has a future consequence. Time invested in learning, improving, and building skills has a future return. Wealth builders train their minds to always see the future version of their choices. They do not ask what feels good now. They ask what creates strength, freedom, and stability later. Another core part of the mental model is delayed gratification. Most people live for comfort, entertainment, and instant pleasure. Wealth builders are comfortable being uncomfortable for a season because they understand what that season produces. They can say no to things they can afford today so they can say yes to things they could not imagine later. They treat discipline as a form of self-respect rather than punish me. This mindset turns saving into empowerment, learning into leverage, and patience into profit. Wealth-building thinking also focuses on ownership rather than consumption. Consumers work for money and then exchange it for things that slowly lose value. Owners use money to acquire assets, skills, and systems that can generate more money over time. They invest in businesses, knowledge, tools, and opportunities that keep working even when they are not actively working. This creates leverage, which is one of the most powerful forces in wealth creation. Leverage allows effort to multiply, turning one action into many results. Another important element is long-term trust in process. Many people quit too early because they do not see immediate results. The wealth builder understands that progress is slow in the beginning, but accelerates with time. Like planting a tree, the early years show little visible growth, but beneath the surface, roots are forming. Once those roots are strong, growth becomes fast and unstoppable. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Doing the right thing regularly beats doing the perfect thing occasionally. This mental model also teaches emotion, control. Money decisions made in fear, anger, or excitement usually lead to loss. Wealth builders develop calm thinking. They do not panic when markets fall. They do not rush when trends rise. They stay grounded in principles rather than emotions. This stability allows them to protect their capital and recognize real opportunities when others are distracted by noise. Finally, the mental model T. Hat builds wealth over time is built on personal growth. Income grows when value grows. Skills, mindset, communication, leadership, and problem-solving abilities all increase a person's ability to create opportunities. Wealth builders invest in themselves because they know they are their greatest asset. They do not wait for permission, perfect conditions, or external validation. They keep learning, refining, and improving. Over time, this way of thinking creates a quiet transformation. Savings turn into investments. Habits turn into systems. Skills turn into income streams. Confidence replaces fear. Freedom replaces stress. The person who once struggled begins to experience stability, then growth, then abundance. All of it comes not from one big decision, but from hundreds of small disciplined choices guided by a powerful mental model that always thinks in terms of future reward, ownership, consistency, and long-term value. Thinking in future value rather than present comfort is one of the most powerful shifts a person can make in their financial life. Most people are trained by society, advertising, and emotion to live for what feels good now. Comfort, entertainment, and convenience become the main goals of daily decisions. Money is spent to remove boredom, reduce stress, or impress others, and time is often traded for short moments of pleasure instead of long-term progress. This way of living creates a cycle where income comes in and disappears just as quickly, leaving little room for stability or growth. The habit feels normal, but over time it quietly builds financial pressure, stress, and dependence. Wealth. Builders train their minds to see beyond the present moment. When they are about to spend money, they mentally project that money into the future. They imagine what that same amount could become if it were saved, invested, or used to build a skill. They understand that every dollar carries potential energy. In the present, it looks small, but in the future, it can grow, multiply, and open doors. D. Mental habit changes how spending feels. Instead of excitement, impulse purchases begin to feel like lost opportunities. Instead of seeing saving as restriction, it begins to feel like protection and power. This mindset also applies to time. Free time is often spent on activities that give instant pleasure but no lasting benefit. Scrolling, binge watching, and idle entertainment may relax the mind for a moment, but they do not build skills, income, or confidence. People who think in future value use at least part of their free time to learn, plan, and improve. They might read, develop a new ability, work on a side project, or refine their professional strengths. These actions do not provide loud rewards in the moment, but they quietly raise future earning potential and personal control. Choosing future value also changes how a person reacts to difficulty. Hard work, discipline, and patience are no longer seen as punishment. They are seen as investments. When a person wakes up early to work on a goal, saves money instead of spending it, or studies instead of relaxing, they are depositing effort into their future life. Each sacrifice is a building block. Over time, these blocks form a structure of stability, reduces financial anxiety, and increases personal freedom. This way of thinking also builds emotional strength. When people live only for comfort, they become sensitive to inconvenience and stress. Small problems feel overwhelming. But when someone is committed to long-term value, discomfort becomes temporary and manageable. They understand that today's effort creates tomorrow's ease. This perspective reduces frustration and increases patience, making it easier to stay consistent and avoid quitting. As this habit becomes normal, life slowly begins to change. Emergency expenses become less frightening because savings are growing. Opportunities become easier to recognize because money and skills are available. Confidence increases because a person knows they are not living only for today, but actively shaping their future. Over time, what once felt like sacrifice begins to feel like smart self-leadership. Thinking in future value is not about denying all pleasure or living a harsh life. It is about choosing purpose over impulse and direction over distraction. It teaches the mind to protect tomorrow before satisfying today. This single shift in thinking can quietly move a person from constant financial pressure into stability, from survival into growth, and eventually into a life where money supports their goals instead of controlling their choices. Delayed gratification is one of the clearest signs of a wealth-building mindset. It means choosing long-term reward over short-term pleasure, even when the short-term option feels easier, more exciting, or more comfortable. Most financial struggles are not caused by low income alone, but by habits that prioritize immediate comfort over future stability. People often spend money to escape stress, boredom, or emotional pressure. And while that relief feels real in the moment, it usually leaves behind a weaker financial position. Over time, this pattern slowly trains the mind to look for instant relief rather than lasting solutions. Wealth builders understand that comfort today can become pressure tomorrow. They are willing to experience a little discomfort now in order to create a stronger future. Saving money instead of spending it on unnecessary items may feel restrictive, but it quietly builds security. Studying instead of scrolling may feel boring, but it increases skill and confidence. Working on a side project instead of resting may feel tiring, but it creates new opportunities. These choices do not bring loud rewards, yet they build silent power. Delayed gratification also builds emotional discipline. When a person learns to pause before spending, reacting, or quitting, they gain control over their impulses. This control becomes a personal advantage. It allows them to avoid emotional purchases, unnecessary debt, and rushed decisions. It also helps them stay consistent with goals even when motivation is low. Instead of waiting to feel inspired, they move based on commitment and long-term vision. Over time, this creates stability and progress that most people never experience. This mindset transforms how saving and investing feel. For many, saving feels like losing access to enjoyment. For wealth builders, saving feels like gaining future freedom. Every amount saved becomes a layer of protection, choice, and peace of mind. Every investment becomes a promise to the future self. Instead of seeing money as something to be spent quickly, they see it as a tool that can grow, multiply, and create independence. Delayed gratification also strengthens patience. Grow takes time. Skills take time. Businesses take time. Investments take time. People who want everything immediately often quit too soon because they do not see instant results. Wealth builders trust the process even when progress looks slow. They understand that early stages are meant to be quiet. They know that strong foundations are built before visible success appears. This patience protects them from frustration and keeps them moving forward while others stop. As this way of thinking becomes normal, a person's lifestyle gradually changes. Financial emergencies become easier to handle. Confidence increases because they know they can control their choices. Stress reduces because they are no longer living paycheck to paycheck mentally, even if income is still growing. They begin to feel ownership over their future rather than dependence on luck or external help. Delayed gratification does not mean rejecting joy. It means choosing better joy. It means replacing short-lived pleasure with long-lasting freedom. It is the discipline to say no to small temptations so that bigger opportunities can say yes to you later. Over time, this single habit reshapes a person's financial life. Men, reset and confidence, quietly moving them from survival into stability, from stability into growth, and from growth into true independence. Focusing on ownership and leverage changes the entire direction of a person's financial life. Most people are taught to work for money, receive a salary, and then spend that money on comfort, entertainment, and lifestyle upgrades. While this pattern may maintain daily living, it rarely creates lasting wealth. Money comes in and goes out, and the cycle repeats with little progress. Over time, this creates dependence on a paycheck and constant financial pressure. Ownership thinking breaks this cycle by shifting attention from spending to building, from consuming to creating, and from short-term use to long-term value. Ownership means putting money, time, and energy into things that can continue to produce value over time. Instead of only buying items that lose value, wealth builders look for assets. These assets can be businesses, investments, digital products, skills, or systems that have the ability to generate income, save time, or open opportunities in the future. This way of thinking treats money as seed rather than reward. once planted in the right place, that seed can grow into something much larger. Leverage is what multiplies the effect of ownership. It allows one effort to create many results. When someone learns a high-value skill, that skill can be used again and again to earn income. When someone builds a small business, that business can serve many customers instead of one. When someone creates content, a course, or a prod, UCT, it can be sold multiple times without repeating the same work. Leverage transforms limited personal time into expandable opportunity. This is how wealth grows faster than income alone. This mindset also encourages learning and self-investment. Skills become assets. Knowledge becomes capital. Instead of seeing education as an expense, wealth builders see it as an investment. They look for ABI, liddies that increase their value in the marketplace and give them more control over income. Communication, problem solving, leadership, sales, digital tools, and financial literacy all increase leverage. These abilities do not expire quickly, and they allow a person to create income in many different environments. Ownership thinking also creates independence. When income only comes from one job, life becomes fragile. A single change in employment can create financial stress, but when a person builds assets and multiple income streams, stability increases. Even small investments or side projects can grow into meaningful support over time. This reduces fear and increases confidence. It creates the feeling that the future is being built rather than waited for. Over time, this approach slowly changes identity. A person stops seeing themselves only as a worker and begins to see themselves as a builder. They begin to ask different questions. Instead of asking how much they can spend, they ask how they can grow what they have. Instead of asking how to earn more, they ask how to create systems that can earn repeatedly. This shift changes daily decisions, priorities, and long-term outcomes. Focusing on ownership and leverage does not require large money to begin. It requires mindset, patience, and consistency. Even small steps taken regularly can grow into powerful results. A small investment, a simple online project, or a newly learned skill can become the foundation of long-term growth. Over time, what once felt like extra effort becomes a source of freedom, confidence, and stability. Thank you. This way of thinking gradually moves a person away from survival and toward control, opportunity, and lasting financial strength. Trusting consistency over speed is one of the most misunderstood but most powerful principles in building lasting wealth. Many people believe that success comes from doing something big, fast, and dramatic. They look for shortcuts, quick profits, and instant proofs. This way of thinking creates frustration because real financial growth rarely happens in a sudden explosion. It happens quietly through small actions repeated daily. When people chase speed, they often burn out, make risky decisions, or quit early when results do not appear immediately. Consistency means showing up for your goals even when motivation is low and progress feels invisible. It means saving a little regularly instead of waiting for a large amount. It means learning a little every day instead of trying to master everything at once. It means working on your goals steadily rather than only when you feel inspired. These small actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound into powerful results. Wealth builders understand the power of compounding. Compounding is what happens when small gains are added on top of previous gains. At first, the growth looks slow. Progress feels invisible. But as time passes, the results begin to multiply. Savings start earning more. Skills start producing better opportunities. Habits become automatic. What once required effort becomes part of daily life. This creates momentum, and momentum creates acceleratio. Consistency also protects a person from emotional decisions. When people rely on bursts of motivation, they tend to make choices based on feelings. Some days they are excited and take action. Other days they feel tired and do nothing. This irregular pattern produces weak results. But when someone follows a consistent routine, progress continues regardless of mood. This emotional stability keeps financial plans, learning habits, and personal development moving forward. Trusting consistency also builds self-trust. Each small promise kept strengthens confidence. When someone sees themselves showing up daily, they begin to believe in their ability to build something meaningful. This belief becomes a hidden advantage. It makes bigger goals feel possible. It reduces fear and hesitation. It creates the identity of someone who finishes what they start. Over time, this steady effort changes financial reality. Emergency savings grow, debts reduce, skills improve, opportunities increase. The person may not notice dramatic changes week to week, but year to year the difference becomes clear. What once felt difficult becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes normal, consistent. Why also allows learning through experience. Small actions reduce risk while increasing knowledge. Mistakes made early are small and manageable. Lessons learned early prevent bigger losses later. This gradual learning curve creates wisdom, patience, and better judgment, which are essential for long-term financial growth. Trusting consistency over speed teaches a person to build strong foundations. Strong foundations support bigger success later. Without them, rapid success often collapses under pressure. But with them, growth becomes stable, predictable, and sustainable. Over time, this mindset quietly transforms effort into progress, progress into momentum, and momentum into lasting financial strength. Invest in. G in personal growth is the hidden engine behind lasting wealth. Money does not grow first. The person grows first, and money follows that growth. Many people focus only on external opportunities, higher salaries, or lucky chances, but they overlook the most powerful asset they already possess, which is their own mind, skills, and character. When these internal assets improve, a person naturally becomes capable of creating better results in any environment. Personal growth begins with learning. Every new skill adds value to a person's ability to solve problems, communicate, lead, and adapt. These abilities are highly rewarded in the real world. A person who can think clearly, speak confidently, manage time effectively, and understand money has far more opportunities than someone who does. Learning may not show immediate financial rewards, but it increases earning potential quietly and steadily. Over time, these improvements begin to attract better work, stronger connections, and higher level opportunities. This investment also shapes mindset. Wealth building requires patience, discipline, confidence, and emotional control. These are not natural traits for most people. They are developed through conscious effort and experience. Reading, listening to mentors, reflecting on mistakes, and practicing better habits slowly reshape the way a person thinks. Fear reduces, focus improves, decision-making becomes calmer. These internal changes protect a person from self-sabotage and emotional mistakes that often destroy financial progress. Personal growth also increases adaptability. The world changes constantly. Skills become outdated, markets shift, technology evolves. People who stop learning slowly lose value, but people who continue to grow remain relevant. They can shift careers, start new projects, or adopt new tools without fear. This flexibility creates long-term security because income is no longer tied to a single job or limited skill set. Investing in yourself also builds confidence. Confidence is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet certainty in your ability to handle challenges. This confidence encourages action. It makes it easier to take opportunities, speak up, negotiate, and lead. These actions open doors that remain closed to those who doubt themselves. Over time, confidence becomes a major factor in income growth in leaders. HIP opportunities. Another powerful effect of personal growth is improved relationships. Communication skills, emotional intelligence, and empathy strengthen professional and personal connections. Strong networks often lead to better opportunities, partnerships, and support systems. Many financial breakthroughs come through people rather than plans. When personal growth improves how a person interacts with others, naturally increases access to information, guidance, and collaboration. This investment also builds resilience. Setbacks are part of every financial journey. Without mental strength, people give up. With personal growth, setbacks become lessons rather than stopping points. The ability to learn from failure and continue forward protects long-term progress. Over time, personal growth quietly shapes identity. A person begins to see themselves as capable, disciplined, and in control. This identity influences daily behavior, and daily behavior determines results. Eventually, income increases, opportunities multiply, and stability becomes normal. All of this begins with the simple but powerful decision to invest in becoming better than yesterday.